So I'm running this year's marathon with my dad.
I've run a number of marathons. I've run Boston 4 times. This year's different because I have the opportunity to do it with Isabella. My daughter, Isabella, she has the passion for Special Olympics. She's in college. She's a senior at Northeastern. Has met a number of the Special Olympics athletes as part of her internship.
I met Johnny September of last year when I started working for the Bruins, and instantly we connected.
I know Johnny also, her friend Johnny. She works for the Bruins. I work for Delaware North. This is the parent company of the Bruins. And everybody knows Johnny.
Everyone in our office always says Johnny is the best person that works for the Boston Bruins, and there's a reason behind that. He's absolutely amazing, and I can't imagine him not in my life now that he's in it. Giving these athletes the ability to be included in everything is absolutely amazing.
Last year she decided, I want to run a marathon. I want to run it for Special Olympics of Massachusetts because she's been inspired by some of the athletes and has convinced me to join her. Her and I said after the 2013 marathon to each other, someday we're going to run a marathon together.
We made a pact that we were going to run this together. So, him coming out of kind of marathon retirement to run this with me, it's amazing.
So 2013 marathon.
I was 9 years old at the time.
And was your dad running?
Yes, my dad is also a runner. That was his third Boston Marathon.
I don't talk about it that often.
That was definitely the worst day of my life. I saw things that most 9-year-olds should never have to see in their life, never mind any person at any age.
We had a plan that day. It was a third marathon I'd run, but I wanted to cross the finish line with Isabella and Ava and kind of having our hands up, crossing the Boston Marathon finish line.
And so me, my mom, and my sister were at the finish line waiting for him to finish.
I knew where they were going to be. I was going to run right over, probably 100 yards or so right before the finish. They were going to jump over. We were breaking all the rules at that point, but we had that, they're not going to stop us at that point.
During the marathon, we were right across the street from the initial explosions.
I was at mile 24 and a half, or almost to 25, and I could see something was going on, and all of a sudden they stopped the marathon, and wait a minute, why did they stop the marathon? And somebody said a bomb went off at the finish line. There was a bombing at the finish line, and I knew they were at the finish line. It wasn't that they were just at I knew where they were at the finish line. I started dialing my wife's number, and there was no connection because all the phone lines had gone down because everybody was dialing at the same time. So thinking the worst at that point, that my life was, over at that point too.
There was a long period of time, I couldn't tell you how long it was, but it felt like a lifetime that we didn't know if my dad was even alive.
I could only think the worst, and I had run almost 25 miles, and then I had really started running. You're not tired at that point. Adrenaline kicks in, and you run for your family's life, trying to find them.
They rushed us into the Boston Public Library right behind us, and then police officers came in and said that there were other devices around us. So we were rushed out through the back, didn't really know where we were, couldn't get in contact with my dad.
Finally, my wife, probably 15 minutes after that, called me. I answered the phone. She told me where we were.
My dad, he ended up running 28 miles that day because he came looking for us.
Found them. They were fine. Obviously, they were shaken up tremendously, but that's always tied us to this marathon.
I think it's going to feel very surreal. I'll probably cry because ever since that day, I haven't been able to go back to the marathon finish line. So being able to do it with someone that experienced the same thing as me really makes it special.
Crossing the finish line with her, being part, it kind of gets us, it closes, I don't know if it closes that chapter, but it brings us to the next chapter.
I think it's going to be an amazing moment, especially to cross the finish line with my dad in a place where, I was the most scared I've ever been in my life, and I'm really conquering my fear in a way.
It's also a great opportunity as a dad to see your daughter at 21 years old be part of something like this in raising money for such a special organization. I remember when I was 21, I wasn't doing anything like this.
I feel like I'm really, being brave in doing that, and I'm doing it for a special cause, which really helps.
Running it with Isabella, crossing the finish line with her, it's an amazing experience. It makes you so proud.